Public schools in much of Missouri see a steep drop in enrollment during the pandemic. We'll hear from a local district.
As President-elect Biden works on the transition from Delaware, there's increasing concern about the standoff in Washington, D.C. I'm Natalie Brandt with why former national security officials are sounding the alarm.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
The state of Missouri reports a decrease in public school enrollment. This is KOAM News at 5. The Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education says enrollment has dropped 3.2%. That's a drop of around 27,000 students compared to the last school year. For our local districts, the numbers are a little closer to what they normally expect to see.
Last year, our September count was 7,639, and this year our count is 7,477. So we were down about 162 students, but we do have 94 students whose families have elected homeschooling.
In Neosho, enrollment is down by 75 students. Webb City has stayed steady, and in Diamond, enrollment is actually up by 50. We're going to hear from the districts tonight at 6. Butchers are backed up on work across the four states trying to keep up with the demand for meat as deer season kicks in. Clouds in Carthage is booked through January of 2022. The owner says he's asking customers to be patient, anticipating some openings at the beginning of the year possibly, because so many of the major meat processing plants are either closed or operating on a partial basis. Demand is falling on the shoulders of many small and medium-sized processors.
I call it, like toilet paper, because everybody's wanting to book. Everybody's afraid they don't have anything and, not going to have meat.
Tomorrow marks the start of the November firearms portion of deer season in Missouri. Tonight at 6, we're going to talk with a deer hunter from Arkansas about his struggle to find a processor. The Springfield Police Department announced a new program to help first responders know if a person has a disability or special need that could affect communication. They're offering 3 varieties of emergency alert stickers free of charge. One is for people with dementia or Alzheimer's, one is for people who are deaf or hard of hearing, and another for autism or other special needs. SPD says their officers already receive training to support people with disabilities. The stickers will help supplement those efforts. And that brings us to today's KOAM News Now Instapoll. Today's question is, how effective do you think the sticker program will be? Very effective, somewhat effective, or not at all? You can vote at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote or through the KOAM News Now mobile app. Results are updated live, and we're going to be checking in on them periodically throughout KOAM News at 5. We'll have the final results on KOAM News at 6. Checking in now with Nick Kelly on this Friday.
We've been staying pretty quiet so far, Dow, but clouds have been on the increase, hinting at our next storm system ready to roll on in. But for now, from atop our cow cam on top of the roof and across the area, we're looking dry for now. But again, this area cloud cover is hinting at more moisture on the way with our next storm system rolling in. So we're not going to be surprised as we begin to see rain and thunderstorm chances pick up later on tonight. It's already doing so across southern parts of Oklahoma, but at least we can hold off on a dry start to the evening across the entire area. Some of us already back in the upper 40s, most of us though between 50 and 55 degrees. We're going to take a quick dip into the upper 40s before we go back near 50 by midnight and actually into the lower 50s by tomorrow morning. But to start the weekend now, it's going to be all about the clouds and the rain chances. We'll break down the storm system coming up in a bit, though.
All right, we'll catch you then. President Trump has yet to concede the election, even though President-elect Joe Biden seems to have an insurmountable lead with the results of all 50 states now called by CBS News. Reporter Natalie Brandt is in Wilmington, Delaware with more.
CBS News has projected President Trump has won North Carolina, while President-elect Joe Biden is the presumptive winner in Georgia, despite the state's ongoing recount.
It's time we get behind Joe Biden as our next president.
Publicly, the president and his supporters continue to push election fraud theories, even as federal and state-level election officials have declared there is no evidence that any voting system deleted or lost votes, changed votes, or was in any way compromised. White House trade advisor Peter Peter Navarro on the Fox Business Network.
We're moving forward here at the White House under the assumption that there will be a second Trump term.
But senior advisors to the president say that behind closed doors, President Trump is already considering a possible run in 2024. As the administration continues to withhold access to federal agencies and resources to the Biden team, former national security officials are sounding the alarm.
This is an unnecessary risk that President Trump is putting on the country.
President-elect Biden's team is also eager to start coordination on combating the coronavirus as much of the nation deals with rising infection rates.
Right now, there are officials inside the Department of Health and Human Services who are busy planning a vaccination campaign for the months of February and March, when Joe Biden will be president.
Friday, President Trump received a briefing on Operation Warp Speed, the administration's strategy to distribute COVID vaccines nationwide. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Wilmington, Delaware.
China is the latest nation to give a congratulatory call to President-elect Biden. Meanwhile, protesters who support President Trump are expected to gather in D.C. tomorrow. Up next in Health Watch, the battle against the coronavirus.
The U.S. continues to break coronavirus records. I'm Danya Backus with a look at the latest efforts to fight COVID-19.
And a little later, how Germany's famous Christmas markets are getting creative this holiday season. At a time when the world's attention's focused on the coronavirus pandemic, a new report says measles cases have been surging worldwide. The World Health Organization says last year the number of reported measles cases around the world was the highest it's been in 23 years. The WHO and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention issued a joint report saying for 2019, almost 870,000 measles cases were reported around the globe. That's the highest number since 1996. The research also says globally, deaths due to measles have jumped by nearly 50% since 2016. The WHO says efforts must be made in communities around the world to get a measles vaccine to everyone in an effort to put a stop to that potentially deadly virus. The United States is continuing to set new records for coronavirus cases, and hospitalizations are on the rise too. There are fewer than 10 ICU beds left in the entire state of North Dakota, for example. Danya Backus reports from Los Angeles as all the West Coast states are asking people not to travel.
The U.S. continues to break coronavirus records. Thursday, the country added more than 153,000 new infections. According to the COVID Tracking Project, 1 in every 378 Americans tested positive for the virus in the past week.
That's a very precarious situation to be in.
Dr. Anthony Fauci, the nation's top infectious disease expert, says numbers are rising in more than 40 states and there is community spread.
We need to pour more testing into the community to get a feel and identify who in the community is spreading the infection, because it isn't only a symptomatic person.
All of Utah's staffed ICU beds are now full, so the governor has called in 200 traveling nurses. And there are just 9 ICU beds left in the entire state of North Dakota. Kathleen Combs is an ICU nurse in Colorado.
It doesn't care who you are. It doesn't care what you believe. It just takes over the body.
California, Washington, and Oregon are now urging people to stay local and, if they must travel, to self-quarantine upon arrival. There's concern the upcoming holidays will increase the spread.
If you're indoors and gathering with people, even if it's a relatively small group, to the extent possible, keep the mask on.
Health experts say help is on the way with a promising vaccine, but urge everyone to keep up precautions like mask wearing, social distancing, and washing your hands. Danya Backus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Several cities are closing classrooms, and New York City could be next as soon as Monday if tests hit a 3% positivity rate. New research finds nearly 1/5 of cancer patients are less likely to participate in a clinical trial because of COVID-19 concerns. Researchers from the American Cancer Society say the most common reasons were fear of exposure to the virus and difficulty accessing care during the pandemic. A new CDC report looks at how well diabetic adults in each state are able to achieve the ABC's goals to prevent diabetes complications. The ABCs of diabetes stands for A1C, a measure of how well the blood sugar has been controlled. B is for blood pressure. C is for cholesterol. S for smoking. The data finds Wisconsin ranked lowest on the list, mostly because of poor cholesterol marks. Utah scored the highest. A new study finds not only are children with food allergies often bullied by classmates and others, 17% of their parents or guardians also report being bullied. Researchers from Northwestern University found almost 50% of those who took action to stop the bullying found it to be helpful. And that's time for us now to check in on our KOAM News Now Instapoll. Again, our question today, how effective do you think the sticker program will be, the one that we had described earlier? At this point, 67% say very effective, 22% say somewhat effective, the rest, 11%, say not effective at all. You can join in the conversation by voting at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote or through the KOAM News Now mobile app. A little bit later, the Commerce Department gives some good news to social media app TikTok.
Plus, rain chances on the way as we continue through tonight and into tomorrow. We'll get to that up next. Well, as advertised, we went from mild to chilly once again as our weekend got underway for today. Temperatures definitely cooler than yesterday. After we saw highs push into the upper 60s yesterday, we went for another cold start. We actually dropped back into the upper 20s in Joplin this morning. Despite that, and despite clouds picking up during the day, we did see highs go back at least into the lower to middle 50s this afternoon. For the time being, we are not seeing any rain or thunderstorms on the Skywatch Storm Tracker radar network right now. But ever since we got the late morning and afternoon hours going, we've noticed cloud cover on the steady increase with our next wave coming in. And once you hop south of I-40 in south central and southeastern Oklahoma, we're already beginning to see more moisture result in rain and even some thunderstorms popping up. I don't think these come in to start the evening out, but once we go into late tonight and certainly tomorrow, that's when rain chances will start to pick up. But we're dry outside from the top of the CalCam. And 51 in Joplin with a northeast breeze at 6, humidity at 46%. We're going to see more moisture work in, so it's going to erode this dry air so that if you want rain chances, we're not going to see it evaporate because of all this dry air that's still trying to hold on. But you can already see our northern counties sneaking back into the upper 40s while we're at 51 in Columbus, 51 in Neosho, and even 55 over in Anderson. It's going to be an interesting night as far as temperatures go. We'll be near 50 at 6 o'clock, upper 40s by 8 o'clock, back near 50 by midnight, and going back into the lower 50s for your Saturday morning, all because of our next wave rolling on in. Again, the wave just bringing in cloud cover so far. It's keeping any rain chances across southeastern Oklahoma, but this is the wave in question that's bringing in the moisture and the rain chances first. Then there's this upper low between Edmonton and Vancouver in Canada. That's going to bring a cold front in to take us from a mild Saturday to another chilly Sunday as we wrap up the weekend. So let's break all this down for you to see how this will all play out. Everyone's mostly cloudy to start the evening out. And if there are any football games going on tonight, I think we can get the games in before 10 o'clock. When we see our chances for rain and thunderstorms begin to pick up, and they're going to increase in coverage across the area as we go throughout the course of the night. And with this wave still around, we're going to hold on to mostly cloudy skies and some scattered thunderstorms as we continue into our Saturday ahead of us. 53 in the morning, but despite the clouds and the rain chances, a south wind of 15 to 25 will push afternoon highs to 66 degrees. Then here comes Saturday evening. Before the front clears out, we can see a good shot for maybe some strong thunderstorms working across southwestern Missouri. I don't think these will be severe, but the front will push everything out. We're going to clear out as we go into Sunday morning. A cold start in the upper 30s, but looking good for Sunday as we see highs bounce back into the middle to upper 50s. As far as rain amounts, not a big washout. But I think everyone's fair game to pick up 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch. So this is certainly welcome rain before we look at a mainly dry week ahead of us as we continue on with the extended forecast. 66 tomorrow, 56 on Sunday, back near 61 on Monday, and then inching that thermometer upward back near 70 on Thursday and 72 by next weekend, Dow.
Yeah, it'll be nice to see 70 degrees, possibly 70 degrees plus in about a week.
Yeah, not bad.
Thanks, Nick. Coming up, folks in Germany putting a 2020 twist on their famous Christmas markets. First, though, we honor a local member of the armed forces. Dustin McMinn joined the U.S. Army in 2008. This Kamen, Kansas native has been stationed in Iraq and Afghanistan, and we salute Specialist Dustin McMinn, a four-state hero. The Commerce Department says TikTok can operate in the U.S. for now. The department says the shutdown order would not go into effect pending further legal developments. The Trump administration had been threatening to shut down the app in the U.S., alleging the China-owned video sharing service collects data on millions of Americans. JetBlue is announcing plans to phase out middle seat blocking. The budget airliner says beginning in the new year, it'll stop blocking middle seats. The carrier says it'll begin gradually lifting space constraints in December. Next month, JetBlue plans to cap onboard capacity at 85%, which is up from its current 70% cap. With the move, it's following in the footsteps of other airlines. United Airlines is trying to lure flyers back to the skies. The air carrier says it's boosting its sanitation methods using Clorox electrostatic sprayers in nearly 3 dozen of its terminals. The portable sanitation stations will disinfect high traffic areas like ticketing counters, boarding gate areas, and employee spaces. Germany's famous Christmas markets draw millions of visitors every holiday season, but this year they've been canceled because of the coronavirus pandemic. So how are people there getting into the spirit? Well, the answer is with a little creativity. Reporter Riley Carlson is in London with that story.
It's looking a lot like Christmas northeast of Munich. The snow is fake, but it's part of an authentic German tradition with a 2020 twist. A drive-through Christmas market. Organizer Patrick Schmidt says it was a spontaneous idea because of the second lockdown. With meats grilling and chestnuts roasting, people order all the usual treats from the comfort of their car. This visitor says you couldn't do it any better during times like these. Anton Kolbinger says he heard carols for the first time and is slowly getting in the mood. Helping people find those festive feelings is helping organizers too. Schmidt says his biggest Christmas wish is that the coronavirus is finally brought under control, so revelers can once again enjoy the spirit of the season without social distancing. Riley Carlson, CBS News, London.
A final check of the forecast next. The CBS Evening News is next. Then on KOAM News at 6, details of a homicide investigation in Ottawa County, Oklahoma. Plus, we're going to hear from a deer hunter who struggled to find an available meat processor. And we'll preview tonight's Missouri Class 5 District 6 championship game between #1 ranked Carthage and #2 ranked Webb City. Big game. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Taking another look at our KOAM News Now Insta poll. Again, we've been asking how effective you think the sticker program will be. That was from an earlier story. At this point, 64% think very effective, 24% somewhat effective, 12% not effective. You still have time to vote at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote or through the KOAM News Now mobile app. We'll have the final results on the poll on KOAM News at 6. South Korea put on a colorful drone display sharing messages of hope in the fight against the coronavirus. More than 300 drones flew over Seoul Olympic Park for this synchronized light show, thanking frontline medical workers and citizens for their efforts to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. You combine some drones and some lights and a little bit of computerized synchronization, and it looks like magic.
Always looks amazing.
It is, yes indeed. People will be looking at the sky tonight.
Yeah, they'll be watching for rain chances after 10 o'clock tonight and picking up quite a bit tomorrow with highs near 66.
We'll see you here at 6. In the meantime, let's take care of ourselves and each other.